I think next we have my brother, Daniel Harrison. Take it away, Dan.
I was afraid you might get sick of Harrison's, so I want to avoid any kind of duplication with my brother, so I wrote something that happened in a work context. Specifically, it's a trip to a furniture factory in Poland. The availability of oak is our biggest problem, the factory owner explained to us, as we picked our way gingerly across the uneven surface of the endlessly expansive timber yard. Seeing Malika, the inexplicably glamorous manager of our Islington branch, teetering in inappropriate footwear, he took on a confidential tone. "There's no concrete," he explained. "If I lay concrete, it becomes a permanent structure and I pay taxes on it." The ground had been rutted and crested by the tyres of 40-foot-long flatbed trucks bearing felled oak trees. The mud had been baked hard by the unexpected March sunshine and now resembled a sepia photograph of the wake from an oil tanker. It seemed to us like an unholy glut of wood. To our eyes, a mighty ancient forest lay sleeping in stacks 10 or 20 tree trunks high. Beyond the uncut trees, stacks of timber cut into boards stood air-dried in rows where we were told they would wait for a year, hardening imperceptibly, shedding moisture along their straw-like fibres. Further still, 7 barn-sized kilns squeezed all but the last of the moisture from boards which had presumably arrived on flatbeds the winter before last, leaving only what was needed to stop them from crumbling into sawdust. Even this forced part of the process would usually take 6 weeks. Making a table took around 3 hours, each step in the production process an order of magnitude quicker than the last. "It's so difficult to get, I've started buying bullet oak." "Bullet oak?" we asked. Always conscious that one can appear childishly ignorant in these situations, but unable to contain our curiosity. "It's oak, with bullets in it," he answered flatly. "From oak trees that have been hit with bullets." We nodded sagely. "There are 2 problems. One, you get through a lot of saw blades. The bullets break the teeth. 2, the oak gets discoloured." I was able to jump in here with my rudimentary knowledge of carpentry. "Oak reacts with any ferrous metals," I explained. "That's why you only ever see brass screws in a well-made piece of oak furniture." The factory owner smiled and nodded. A brownie point for me. He took us to see a tree which had been the victim of a shooting. "You see the colour spreads throughout the wood." He pointed to a purplish-blue bruise at the base of the tree. "The bullet could be anywhere in the trunk. A lot of this wood just gets burned, but our designer was looking at some of the cut timber and he thinks it looks kind of interesting with the blue colour running through it. He thinks we could make something out of it." At this, my boss Jason's ears pricked up. Survival means individuality for a small business like his. Without something different or exclusive, he's left fighting it out with the multiples and losing. The mention of something unique, however unlikely to be beautiful, was always likely to pique Jason's interest, particularly if there was a marketable story attached. We were whisked away to lunch. Jason, being a vegan, had little fun with the chicken salad that was laid out for us. Too polite to make a fuss, he picked his way around the cubes of flesh. Before our host left us to eat in peace and discuss some of what we'd seen, we had the chance to ask him where he thought the bullets came from. "From the war, I suppose," he shrugged and left us to our lunch. It took a while to take in. The sense of time was so dislocating, but of course it was entirely plausible that these trees had been carrying bullet wounds since the 1940s. Bruises slowly spreading, the tree absorbing but never accepting the foreign metal. 70 years was not so long in the life of an oak tree, a war not so significant. Some of the planks currently in the kilns had been saplings when Florence Nightingale was doing her first work on infectious disease in the field hospitals of the Crimea. I could see that Jason was turning this over in his mind, looking for the saleable angle. "Could this be cool?" was the unspoken question on his lips. Then it dawned on me. "These trees," I said, they're sourced locally here in Poland, aren't they?" "Yes," Jason said, picking at the uninfected edges of his food, coming slowly to the same conclusion. "So these bullets are probably from..." "Yes." "You could work out, I suppose, if you dug the bullets out of their channels and examined them, whether these have been fired at innocent civilians being massacred by the SS in the first years of the war, or at innocent civilians being massacred by the Russians in the last years of the war. Very likely you could triangulate a sample of blue-stained oak trees to help locate the mass graves of Polish Jews, gypsies and the mentally ill, who have been rounded up in groups, made to dig their own graves, and then been lazily machine gunned. Malika, ever keen to find a positive spin, opened her mouth to begin an attempt at framing the idea of using material which carried the ever-spreading marks of these crimes as some triumphant testimony to the enduring memory of the victims. But Jason cut her off before she could warm to her theme. No, I don't think that would work out too well, he said, whilst assessing a potato which had clearly been sullied with grease from the chicken. Perhaps it should be used for a memorial, she said thoughtfully. Perhaps, I said, though I didn't think so. The truth was that the wood had been rendered fantastically ugly. The blue streaks that laced through it looked like the metastases of cancer, and it seemed quite appropriate that it should have been rendered unusable by bearing witness to genocide. I didn't think it should be made beautiful. I thought it should continue to be a problem. I thought it should continue to rip the teeth out of saw blades and frustrate the owners of furniture factories. I thought it should lie in wait to trap unthinking designers and retailers who might be so caught up in the idea of marketing that they might commit an act of such disgusting bad taste that no one would ever take them seriously again. The past infects our present, and the best we should hope for is that our culture will survive and be inoculated. Even this seems like a kind of betrayal.
Very nice, very nice. To be honest, how many of you were thinking, yeah, I quite like one of them bullet tree tables.
I've got one.
He's already got one.